Hey everybody, it's Eugene Liscio here, and welcome to Click 3D. This is the program where we talk about photogrammetry and how you can use your digital camera to make compelling 3D models. Now, a few weeks ago, and actually a couple of times, I've already done a couple of videos on the Everypoint app. And so the first time I did a car, I laser scanned it, I made a comparison, and after that I did a parking lot, something on the order of about 40 or 50 meters. Well, I've been pushing the app a little bit more, and I want to see how far I can push it. So here's the challenge for today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the app, I'm going to start scanning, and I'm going to go around my whole building maybe twice. And I'm going to try and get some of the details around the corners here. And I just want to see what I can capture, or even if the app is going to hold up. And when you think about it, this would be a really fantastic option if you're trying to get something really big and getting a point cloud or some 3D data all the way around the building. So if you're thinking about a car accident and getting something at an intersection, if you're thinking about a crime scene, if you're thinking about archaeology, if you're thinking about architecture, if you're thinking about construction, it has a lot of different applications by doing this. Now the question is, what's the accuracy going to be like? The question is, will the photogrammetry part kick in and really help us bring this all together, or is it just going to fail and collapse? Remember, we have both Lidar on the phone and we have video collection, so we're processing those video frames to a photogrammetry model, and I think that's one of the strengths of this particular app. So let's go ahead. I'm going to fire this up. It's going to be a little tricky. I'm going to try and hold my phone and kind of walk around the building, so I'll have two things in my hand here, but let's give it a go and let's see what happens. All right, so here I am. I'm not sure if you can see this or whatever, but I basically have a pole. I've got the iPhone up on top, and then I've got just a regular phone here recording my, my audio and my video just kind of as I walk around. So I thought it would be nice to get a second perspective. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan this building, and the sun is kind of going down, so there's going to be a part where I'm kind of going to be right in the sun. So you can see the building here. I'm going to head down this way, go to the left, do the back, and then eventually go around, and you'll see I'll be coming up from this way over here. So we'll do one loop with a bit of overlap so that we can do some loop closure. And what I'm going to do is on here, I'm going to go with the ARKit Lidar points right there. And I'm just going to use the standard, and I'm just going to go start. And this is going to start here, and I'm just going to go start walking around here once this is ready. Oh, one thing I will do is do this camera pass through so I can see what the heck I'm looking at. Okay, so I'm just going to start walking now. And I'm not going to be being too picky here. I'm just going to make a nice loop around the building, get what I get. And in some cases, maybe when I come back around on the opposite side, I'll get that mailbox that's there. Now you see the sun that's over here. Okay, you can see it there. I'm going to turn the camera away from the sun, get this side so I don't get glare. And I'm going to move as far back as I can. I'm kind of limited because there's a concrete barrier, but I'm going to do my best to get the upper part here. And hopefully, hopefully this will work. So I'm kind of squeezing it here. It's as close or as far as I can get. But I think I've got the top of the building, so I'll be okay. And all right, so let me start to shift again like that. So you can see the back is not just flat. It's got these indents in the building. So if I go over here, there's going to be a part that's in the shade. So I'm not sure how well it's going to handle the shaded parts. But like here, against the wall. Okay, so if I get close, all right, like that. And then I'm going to come back again like this. All right, like that. And I'm getting a little bit of sun over here, so I got to be careful I don't get the glare. And all right, it's a little dark there, so the contrast is not, or I should say the bright and dark is not going to be helpful. But we'll see what the reconstruction gives. Who knows? Again, this is just walking around, and if I can do this in 5 minutes and get all this data, that'll be pretty cool. So I got some stuff in here going on, if I can show you like that. I've got a wall in here that I want to capture some of this, and I'm not going to get too picky. So I'm going to get most of this over here like that. I'm going to go like this, and I'm going to get the wall. I'm going to back up like that. Okay, now I got to be careful on this part because there is sun there, so I got to point it away again. I just don't want the glare. The glare is just going to mess everything up. So I'm gonna go this way and start pointing away from the sun. I'm kind of, it's not working backwards really, but just gotta get as far back as I can. Want to get the top of the building there. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of in a tight situation here, so hopefully I'll get enough. Now I got a bit more space I can peek over here. All right. Welcome back. Getting this side of the building. And hopefully this is gonna work for me. All right, now I got a bit more room here, so this will be helpful. And sorry if it's a little windy. Okay, we're getting this part of the building, so the sun is on my back, so that's going to be helpful. I should get the a lot of nice details here. And I wish I had a gimbal for this thing, but you know, it is what it is. I'm just using it's a monopod, a telescoping monopod, and it seems to be okay. So if I wanted to get up high, that would be useful. But all right, we're here like this, and let me keep going around. All right, now I got a straight shot. Try to hold this stable. Don't get too wobbly. But I got plenty of room here, so I'm just gonna go like this and walk, collect all this stuff. You might even see me walking here in the windows. There's a bit of glare, but I'll be interested to see what happens. So we're probably about 75, 80% of the way there. So we're not doing too bad. Okay, got some cars here. And we'll see if we get some points from the Lidar on there. Now, of course, the Lidar has a limited range, right? So if I'm about 12 meters or 10 meters or so from the wall here, it's not going to help. It's just whenever I cross something that's kind of close to me, I'll get some data, but that's okay. Let's see what I get. Getting to the corner here. And what I'm going to do at the very end here is I'm going to loop around this mailbox. That's at the end. You'll see it in a second. There you go. So I'm just going to loop around that and make sure that I get most of the building. And I got to be careful of the glare. And I should walk into the shadow right now. Okay. I got a nice shadow blocking the sun. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk close here. And now you'll see the points start to kick in. Yeah. So I'm just going to go around here like that. Okay, great. Like that. And I'm almost done. I just want to do a bit of overlap at the end of the building, like this, and I'm going to walk it again and basically get some loop closure in this thing, so that when it processes, you know, it has something to close the loop. If you don't close the loop and overlap a bit, you basically have like two open ends of a string, and they can just kind of flop around, and when you get the overlap, they sort of get tied together. So I'm going to stop it here. Okay. All right, so it'll give me a preview. This should be based on the Lidar points. You can see it's a mess. Okay, so it kind of looks like the shape, but not really. Okay, so that's just a really, really rough look at what we've captured. And because it's so big, you know, this is just raw data. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this out, and it's going to ask me what I want to do. So I want to save and upload. So I'm going to hit that. And what's it going to be called? I'm going to call this building like this, and then it says save PLY or whatever. I'll just go Ep27. Oh wait, maybe it's giving me a problem here. There's something already called building, so I'll just call it BLDG. Okay, and I'll go save Ep57. It's saving now, and I expect that this is going to take a little bit of time. And then what I'm going to do is yeah, the scan is saved, but now what it has to do, it has to upload. So you'll see in the top here, it's going to start to upload the data up on the screen there, and we will go from there. So, not too bad. What we'll do is I'll let this upload. I'm going to stop the video, and then we're going to go and figure out what the heck is going on with the data. I'm really interested to see what this is going to look like. See you in a bit. Okay, so I'm here inside of Cloud Compare, and I've got some data up here from the first capture there. Now, I'm noticing already that, you know, I'm missing some pieces. Some of these walls are not looking all that great, but it did manage to get all the way around the building. And you'll see here I've got some walls and such. Now, again, my famous saying is that this isn't going to win any awards. This is a quick capture. It's using a low-cost sensor. And you can see there's quite a bit of noise up here. So there may be a few reasons for this. And one of them is the distance that I'm, how close I am to these walls, how far I am, and also the method of capture. So you'll see in here, and in here. So I had a problem because I had to kind of rotate around, and when you got to rotate the camera path, it doesn't work all that well. So it really likes when you have to move sort of parallel to a surface. That's really the best way, because you're capturing a lot of overlapping images that way. And when you're trying to get into like the little nooks and crannies, you have to pay attention to the path that you're taking. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm probably going to do this again, but I also need to laser scan. So I'm going to take the laser scanner and I'm going to scan this area just very quickly without any color or anything, just so that I have a ground truth. I've got some reference to say, okay, look, I can measure maybe some distances to see what I've got. There are some areas locally that are obviously going to give me problems. I can even see here there was some problems with the alignment and that sort of thing, but I need some kind of a reference. Otherwise, it's just sort of a visual inspection and I really won't know. So let me go do that. I'm going to go scan, and I'll probably do another round of measurements, and then I'll come back and I'll compare them all in Cloud Compare. Okay, folks, so as you saw, I had some difficulty with the first round, and it was kind of, I guess that on some of the corners, it started to lose tracking. It wasn't doing all that well. So I'm going to try this one more time. And what I'm going to be doing is just kind of really going steady and being careful about some of the corners and such that I'm going to be tackling here. So let me get into the Everypoint app. And what I'm going to do is use the AR Lidar. Okay, that's good. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go start scan. I'm going to put the pass through so I can see what's going on. I'm going to go back here. I've already got some glare, so I got to get into this part here. All right, so here we go. And I think we are already scanning, so let me just start moving here. All right, I'm going to try to make this as steady as possible. And, all right, so I'm moving pretty quick here, and you can kind of see me walking. All right, not really getting the top all that much, but I am closer to the building now. Okay, now I got to be careful here, because there's going to be glare. The sun's going to be pointed right at me. All right, I'm turning a bit around this corner. Hopefully it gets this. Moving back, trying to avoid glare. Okay, getting this part of the building. All right, now it's the back part here that caused me some problems last time. So what I'm going to do is I am going to sort of do a convergent axis around here. And let me see what I can do. I'm just going to move straight across and see what I get. Like this. Okay. So, yeah, I'm not going to spend too much time on the walls there. I'm just going to walk straight across. I went in there last time and really got the insides, but no big deal. I'm just going to keep going like this. See what I get. Like that. Like this. And see what happens. Okay, so I'm going to be missing some of the pieces there, and I got to move back from this wall and try to just get this wall. Try to get the bottom corner too, and move slowly here. Okay, picking up some of the LiDAR. I can see some of the points coming through, but not all that much. And I'm going to go around this corner like this. All right, and I'm going to see what happens here if I get this all scanned. Walking at a distance here, should be picking all this up. I got the sunlight behind me now, so that hopefully will help a bit. And just gonna keep going here. Now, if I can, I'm gonna try and maybe loop a bit more, get on the inside. But if not, even just once will help. So now I'm gonna move a bit closer, like here. All right. So I'm gonna stay. It's hard to see. Well, you're gonna see me walking in the parking lot here. And all right, slow and steady. Try to make this happen. This side I didn't have too much problems with last time. It did pretty good. I'm kind of wondering if I could elevate this almost and point it down a bit. It might even be better. But there's some spots that are just tight. They're hard to get the whole wall kind of thing. So let's just see what we can do here. If I can manage another loop around, then maybe I'll do that. 2 loops might be better than 1. And this way we really lock it all in here. So we're coming around to the corner now. All right, getting right to the corner, and now we're gonna be starting our second loop. So let's see what we can do here. All right, now I gotta tuck in because the sun is gonna start to give me a glare, so I'm gonna get kind of close here, see if I can tuck into this shadowed area. And then, yeah, okay, now I got shadow, that's good. So I'm gonna move back just until I get a little bit of glare. And I'm doing my second loop here, so let me try this again. Maybe on a little bit of an angle. Oh yeah, I can see how it's lost tracking now. But maybe it'll get fixed with the second loop. So now I have to start turning. Okay, turn, move back, and let's see what we got here. Okay, one more. Let's do one more loop. I'm gonna try to hit the top a bit. Oops, wobbling too much. Careful. All right. Okay, now in here, this is the tricky spot. So, okay, I'm not gonna spend too much time in here. Let me just walk across and get some of this. Moving across, getting some close-ups. Let me try to tuck into this, well, maybe not this one corner. No, I can kind of see the inside over here. That's cool. All right, you can probably hear kids in the background maybe, I don't know. Let me get in close to this thing. Let's see if I can get this in better detail. Like that. Some of the, all right. Now I'm gonna get this part down here. Like that. Okay. Now over here, I'm gonna move back again. Well, I'll move, you know what? I'm gonna do closer now this time. See if I can get this part a bit better. So I'm kind of cutting off the top of the building, but let's see what I get just like this. Okay, it's a little bit of wind now. It's picked up a little bit, so hopefully the microphone's not gonna get too much wind noise. All right, so here, I'm gonna go around this corner, and I'm gonna walk a bit closer this time to get the bottom half of the building. And all right, I'm gonna move a bit quick, and once I get down to the end, I'm just gonna call it quits, and that'll be my second loop. Get in there. And yeah, I keep thinking that having a gimbal might help this, because like I'm holding this pole, and it's not too bad. Yeah, really not too bad at all. But I keep thinking that as I wobble this around, especially if you turn fast, so, you know, moving faster or slower is probably not a problem, but if you rotate this at all and it moves about sort of the vertical axis, I think that could be more detrimental. So let's see what happens here. We're getting to the final part, almost there, about 90% of the way there. All right, I've got this fire hydrant here, right there, and I've got the mailbox right here, and once I get back here, I'm gonna call it quits. So I'm in the shaded area. We did some overlap already, so what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna stop it now, and let's see what happens. Stop, let me see if I can just go around the car, see if I can get this in better detail, like that. All right, like this. And that's it. We're gonna call it quits. Oh yeah, so you can see this is totally messed up with just the LiDAR, like a total mess as it goes around there. So it just lost its marbles, but that's okay. We're gonna hit close. It's gonna ask me whether to save. I'm gonna do the save and upload, and I'm gonna call this building 2. Yeah, just whatever. 2. And we can save it as an Ep27. And now we got to let this thing cook. So we'll come back to this a bit later and see what happens. All right, so I'm out here on this beautiful day here, and I've got the laser scanner with me. So I'm going to be scanning all the way around the building so that this way I have some kind of a reference or some known values. So I'm just going to be going around. I'm using a low resolution, not going to be using color or anything like that. Just want to get a quick sort of idea of the overall dimensions of the buildings, and then we're going to see how that compares to the data that was captured with the Everypoint app. Okay, we're almost done here. It's always funny because anytime that I come out and I'm like scanning, people always come up and they're like, what the heck are you doing? What is that? Where do you work? What's going on? So people think I'm like, I don't know, construction company or going to be tearing down walls or whatever. So I assure you that's not what I'm doing here, but almost done. When this is taken care of, we're going to go inside and we are going to process these scans. All right, so we are in Cloud Compare, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I have in terms of data. So this first one here that looks nice and crisp and very solid is the Faro data. And so this is the laser scanner data. I did not do any color or anything like that. I just kind of went around really quickly, and you'll see I've made some pretty big jumps here with the scanner, just so I can get the overall size. I'm not really too worried about some of these little gaps and that sort of thing. No big deal there. So that's one reference that we have, and I think that's going to be our main reference. And what I'd like to do is sort of take some corner to corner measurements and then look at the overall dimensions and see how they compare. I could do a full 3D comparison, but I just want to get some scaled measurements in this one. I'm not going to go all that far like I've did in a previous video or in a couple of other videos. And the only reason is I can tell already, like, we're really pushing the phone here, the iPhone 12, by going all the way around. And we're still getting something, don't get me wrong, but I just feel that it's way over the top, maybe, for what's required here. So that's the Faro data. This is the original data that I have with the phone. So let me just shut off the laser scanner data down here. So that's the original data. You can see that we have a lot of noise in these corners here. Okay, but we still got some kind of a structure, and it doesn't look perfectly clean, but hey, it is what it is. And finally, we have another one, and that's the most recent one that we did. And this one actually looks, now I didn't go into the corners here, so I just kind of bypass those. I just kind of walk straight down this way, but you'll see that overall it looks pretty good. It looks fairly solid along the walls that I captured. And so if I wanted to just do an overall measurement or whatever, we're going to check that as well. So let me hit the, or let me just hit, I'm going to hit mute here for a second, and I'm just going to go work through this and get these things aligned as best as possible. So stand by. Okay, so there we are. So what we have now is the first scan that I did, In the middle is the laser scanner data, and this is the second scan that I did that looks a bit more solid. So we can try a couple of things here with just overall measurements and maybe aligning the two together and then checking. But let's just do a simple thing here. Let's take the laser scanner data and let's take a corner-to-corner measurement. I want to know, let's say, for example, how far it's going to be from, let's say, this corner down here, right down to the opposite corner that's down here, just on the ground. And we'll try to pick the same points in the other scan too. So I'm going to go into the distance tool here, and I'm going to click more or less over here. That's fine. And then we're going to go to the other side like this and go right across to the opposite corner and get a nice little measurement. And we just got to make sure we got to pick more or less the same points. Let's say somewhere over here. Okay. So this is telling me that it's about 92.07. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to save that measurement. So now it's locked into, yeah, it's locked in there. Okay, good. So 92.07. Now let me close this and let me do the same thing. I'm going to hide this actually. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one here, which is the first one that I did. Okay, where I actually tried to get inside these areas and it got a little messed up. But let's look at the scale. Now I haven't adjusted anything right now. This is exactly how it comes out of the phone, no adjustment. So I'm not expecting this to be close, but you'll see I'm going to have a little bit of a hard time picking the right points here, but let's just do our best. So I'm going to go ahead, take a distance tool. So somewhere around here is the bottom of the pillar. So there, and let me go around. Okay, this side, we're going to pick the opposite corner, which actually doesn't look too bad. Somewhere around here, let's say. Okay, right about there. Okay, so here we have 89.59. So there's a difference of a couple of meters right there. Okay, right off the bat, that's fine. So let me save that one. And let me close this one. And let me bring in the last one that I did, which was this one here. So this one I think performed a little bit better, didn't have as much noise, but again, we're just going off the immediate scale. I haven't scaled any of these or tried to correct anything, so let's do this. Same thing. Pick down here. Okay, it's the first one, great. And let me get down to the other side, like there. Oops, right there. And let's just say that somewhere around here is the other point. Oh, I didn't hit the distance. Let me do that again. Distance tool, and let me go back. All right, here we go. Now I'm getting close, and let's say around here somewhere. Okay, so now I've got 91.39. So actually the second one did much better. Okay, so that's when I went back. I just did I did a couple passes, but I didn't get into these areas here. So in these areas here might have been where I failed or had some problems. So let's check that out. So right off the bat, this one is about 1 meter off and the other one is at least a couple of meters off. I'm going to save this measurement and these will update as I make some changes here. All right, so the second thing that I'm going to do is, let me just shut that off. Let me bring back the, this is the Faro data. Is I'm going to take each of these scans, I'm going to overlay them here onto the Faro scan data as a reference, and then I'm going to register and scale them accordingly so that it basically is going to fit the Lidar phone, the Everypoint scans to the laser scanner data, but it's going to also adjust the scale. So it's going to try and, you know, stretch it in all dimensions kind of equally and try to make it fit. And then once it fits, basically we'll have a better scale, or we should have a better scale. And then we'll take a look at the numbers again. And these labels that I've made will automatically update. This one won't, but these other two will. Okay, so give me a couple minutes. I'm going to do that, and then we'll come back and we'll just check the numbers. Okay, so now let's have a look at this and see what we got here. Everything seems to be aligned. They're sitting on top of each other, so all the scans are on top. So let's do a comparison from the scan data. So let's just look, make sure which one I've got. Okay, so this one was the first one. Let me make sure I'm in a top-down view. Okay, and you'll see that the corner-to-corner distance after I scaled was 90.65. And I'm just going to get a piece of paper here. I'm going to write this down just so I can keep a recording. So the first one we did is 90.65 meters from corner to corner. And let's look at the second one. And you can see there's a lot of noise here. There's a lot of problems with alignment. Actually, let's just look at this when it's overlaid with the Faro scan data. So I can see, and I'm going to look at this in an orthographic view as well. Okay, there we go. So we can see where there are mismatches to the walls and stuff. Okay, like here, you can see here, there's some problems here. Looks like there's some issues out in the corner as well. So this first one that I did is not so great. You can see that we got easily a couple of meters of error right off the bat. Okay, 92.0, 90.65, so about a couple of meters. And in some, and I'm only taking this one measurement where I can see there's some skew in some of these areas. It looks like there could be some significant problems. But okay, but at least we know what we've got. So let's bring up the next one. Okay, so this is the next one. Now, if we just do a comparison here, you'll see much better on the walls with the scan data. Surprisingly, that is pretty good, actually. That is not too bad. You can see locally there's some noise in some different places, but if you look at the edges, considering that we're pushing this phone here, we can see some mismatch right here. Okay, so here we can get some little things, and maybe if I look at it here, we might be able to tweak that a little bit with some registration or whatever. But let's look at this again over here. Yeah, a little bit of mismatch over here, but the overall difference here is I've got 92.351 with to 92, but let me just make sure I know which one's which. Okay, so the laser scanner, or our reference, is going to be 92.07, let's say. And when we bring back the other one, we've got 92.35. So effectively, we have about 30 centimeters of error on corner to corner. So that is telling me that now there's a couple of things we learned from this exercise. First is the way that you capture. So the way that I was walking around the building makes a difference. So for example, in the first one, in the video when I was walking around, you can see I actually tucked into these corners, and I kind of rotated the camera around here. And also there's some tight corners. Like here, there's a fence, and here there's a concrete barrier, so I can't get farther away. So it's kind of close to this wall. And what you want to do when you're scanning something like that is actually move farther away. Not so much for the LiDAR points, but because it's a big flat wall, well, what I want to do is capture as much of it as possible. Otherwise, it ends up looking like a repeating pattern, and you can get some slippage here or some problems. But definitely the two big problems I had on the first one, if we bring the first one back, and I shut off the Faro scanner, you can see these corners here, just a mess. So there's some issues that were going on when I was capturing in here, and that has to do with the way that I was capturing. Okay, so rotating around, that sort of thing. So there are some methods here that you can use for improving this. But overall, I would have to say that my second attempt did better. So let me turn that back on. And again, I'll let you have another view here. You can see that there are some small mismatches here on corners. Here it's not too bad. Looks like it's lining up okay. Here looks like there might be a little bit. Over here there's a little bit. You can see that it kind of bends out this way. But you know, let's say you just wanted a fast, quick and dirty overview map of this particular building here. It took me 10 minutes to walk around this, and basically everything happens automatically. And so I realize we are for sure pushing the iPhone and the Everypoint app to its limits. And remember, corner to corner is about 93 meters. So if we were to look at the total perimeter here, Well, let's see what we got here. Maybe we can find that out. If we go to the, well, let's look at the Faro data, because that's the more accurate one. Let's just find out what the, if I had to walk around, I walked around this twice, so I'm just kind of curious to know how far I actually had to go. So let's see. If we do that, let me take a distance measurement. So here to here. Okay, so that's like 91 meters. So let's say that's 180 on both sides, and then from here to here, okay, that's telling me it's about 34. So let's say that was about on each side, let's say it was roughly about 70, something like that. So basically what I'm going to have is about 250 meters or so, let's say, to walk around this once, and then twice would be about 500 meters. So if you're thinking about if this was all unwrapped and was linear, basically I'm scanning about 500 meters, and you know, it's you know, it's not bad. Again, if you want to go back, let me just go back here and turn this on. That's it. So I think that's all I'm going to be doing for this particular video. It was a really I wouldn't say it was a quick test, but it was kind of pushing it for me. I didn't think it was even going to get this far. So in some applications, this is not going to work really well for you. It's not at the level of accuracy that you're going to need, but it goes to show you that you can get a very large area with the Everypoint app using the iPhone 12 Lidar. Thanks everybody for watching Click 3D, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.